Now at 9, we have a winter storm watch in effect for the entire area. I'm going to break all this down for you.
Plus details of a new healthcare provider coming to Bourbon County, Kansas.
Rising crime rates in U.S. cities, a point of focus for Americans and the administration. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. What the White House is saying about their response coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan. It'll be an absolutely beautiful day today, close to 70 degrees. Then there's this. I have to say, there is a winter storm moving into the 4 states this week, bringing ice and snow. We go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy. Doug.
Yeah, at least we warmed up today. We had a fantastic Monday for a 68 official high. Average high is 46, started at 30 during the morning hours. But of course, the winter storm watch, which will go into effect tomorrow night, probably about midnight or so. And here's your kind of breakdown. We're mainly dealing with rain on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. Then we switch to ice on Wednesday, and then late Wednesday into Thursday, we switch to snow across the area. So a lot to talk about, and we're going to break down this entire storm system for you here in just a bit.
Doug Heddy, thank you. People in Bourbon County, Kansas will once again have local access to a hospital. Representatives from Noble Health and the county today announced they're opening the Bourbon County Community Hospital. The hospital will be in the building of the old Mercy Hospital, Fort Scott, that closed back in 2018. Officials say a design firm is working on restoring the building, which will take several months.
There is a lot to still do, a lot of renovations. This building's been vacant for quite a while now, 3 or 4 years, and so there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done to get it back up to where we want it to be, to start seeing patients.
It'll be a community hospital. Will it look like your traditional hospital? My guess is no. I don't know that we can, sustain the traditional hospital model, but that's going to be up to Noble Health.
The hospital is located off of Highway 69 on the south side of Fort Scott. Oklahoma hospitals are calling in the military for help fighting COVID-19. As Oklahoma continues to handle full emergency departments and shortfalls in staffing, the federal government is sending military medical teams to OU Health and Integris hospitals in the Oklahoma City area. Officials say the help there could funnel down to our region.
That says a lot to someone to know that, okay, it may not be so easy for me today. It may not fix my problem, but someone is trying to help us out.
The military teams will be made up of physicians, nurses, and others. FDA has fully approved Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine. It's been given to adults under emergency use authorization up until now. The approval makes it the second such vaccine alongside Pfizer's to receive the FDA's nod. Both vaccines are what are considered mRNA vaccinations. A key difference is Moderna has never been approved or authorized for people under 18 years old. An Independence, Kansas man is in custody in Maryland, charged with threatening President Biden. According to a court filing, Scott Merriman made threats to the president in several forms, including a phone call to the White House operator, as well as Facebook posts that are laced with biblical imagery and references to the end times. Filing says in a telephone interview with a U.S. Secret Service agent, Merriman said that God told him to go to Washington to, quote, lop the head of the serpent in the heart of the nation. In a Facebook post, Merriman said, quote, I believe Joe Biden is the Antichrist now, and he will suffer a fatal head wound. I'll deal with that blow in Christ's name. The former mayor pro tem of Purcell, Missouri, admits to stealing from the city and avoids jail time. In a deal with prosecutors, Nancy Wilson pleads guilty to misdemeanor stealing and gets 2 years unsupervised probation. Authorities had originally charged Wilson with felony stealing for writing checks from the city and depositing them in her own bank account in March and April of last year. She has to repay more than $2,500 to the city. The national president of the Fraternal Order of Police is accusing White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki of mocking Americans' concerns about rising crime in a recent interview she recently conducted. Psaki defended her response, though, arguing she was taken out of context. Fox's Lauren Blanchard reports.
What do you think is going to happen? Voluntary compliance by criminals?
There's growing anger that rising crime in the U.S. isn't being addressed by leaders in office. In California Monday, an on-duty firefighter shot and killed.
This is my worst nightmare as the fire chief.
Meanwhile, in Washington, President Biden met with the nation's governors. He said he wants funds from the American Rescue Plan passed last year used to address gun violence.
We should use these funds to combat violent crime as well. including hiring additional police officers and investing in community violence interventions and improving the work in communities.
The FBI found homicide rates soared in 2021. St. Louis had the worst rate in the nation. A new Fox News poll found 81% of Americans are extremely or very concerned about rising crime rates. The White House is defending their work.
The president has been a longtime advocate of addressing crime. He's never been for defunding the police.
And they're pushing back on soft on crime criticism against Democratic leadership.
Our view is that instead of turning this into a political football, we need to be focused from the beginning of the president's time, of all of his time in office, on reducing crime and keeping our community safe.
President Biden is planning to meet with New York City's new mayor, Eric Adams, later this week. It comes after the murder of 2 city police officers. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
The U.S. and Russia squaring off at the United Nations as the possibility of a Russian incursion into Ukraine looms. Now, Moscow pointing fingers at Washington, saying the U.S. is provoking this situation. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Pelcott has more from Kiev.
As Ukraine and the rest of the world teeter on the edge of Russia's next move, the U.S. calling the situation urgent and dangerous, vowing to act if Moscow decides to invade its neighbor.
We do not want confrontation, but we will be decisive, swift, and united should Russia further invade Ukraine.
At the UN Security Council Monday, Russia's ambassador saying there's no proof the country is planning military action against Ukraine, and that America is provoking war between the two nations, even though Russia has amassed more than 130,000 troops around Ukraine's borders, including a surge of 5,000 in Belarus. Ukraine's representative saying no matter what happens, they won't back down.
The Kremlin must remember that Ukraine is ready to defend itself.
Its citizens preparing for any outcome, engaging in daily training exercises with Ukrainian military service members. Meanwhile, President Biden saying the U.S. is not provoking war between the neighboring nations.
With Russia's continuing its buildup of its forces around Ukraine, we are ready no matter what happens.
The White House prefers the path of diplomacy, but at this point, talks between Washington and Moscow are failing. On Tuesday, Secretary of State Blinken is set to continue the conversation with his Russian counterpart, Foreign Minister Lavrov. In Kiev, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
KOM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Raymond Simpson served in the U.S. Navy from 1941 to 45. We are proud to thank and salute Motor Machinist First Class Raymond Simpson, native of Weir, Kansas. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast a bit later. Big changes ahead for Pittsburgh High School football. Details, of course, in sports.
A U.S.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice day for us today, but of course changes are going to be rolling in as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours. That's why we have a winter storm watch in effect, and this will start tomorrow night. I assume by morning these will elevate to winter storm warnings, but right now the entire area is under a winter storm watch across the region. Hard to believe when we push 70 for us today, upper 60s across the region. We have dropped off, not much. Most of us are sitting into the mid 50s right now. We'll only bottom out right around 50 for an overnight low tonight. Outside 7th and range line, we currently sit at 56. Southerly winds 10 to 15, humidity at 47%. We do have some mid and upper level clouds which are starting to increase. So clouds will increase as we go through the overnight hours tonight, but we will stay dry. 1 weak wave passing to our south, and then here's the beginnings of our next storm system, which will start to affect us as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. All right, let's break this down. Cloudy skies tonight, so by morning, maybe a few peaks of the sun, but mostly cloudy skies, near 50. Let's go to the noon hour. Showers starting to pop up, especially along and north of Interstate 44. We're still into the 50s. Let's go into the afternoon. Here comes our Arctic front blasting in. So by evening, we're going to be dropping back into the 40s. We'll have periods of rain throughout the day. 51 to start, 55 by noon, high temp of 57. Northerly winds kicking in. You'll feel the switch pretty good by mid to late afternoon as temperatures drop into the 40s, drop into the 30s by midnight. So all the pink, here's midnight tomorrow night, is all freezing rain mixed with some sleet in our northern counties. As we go to about 6 a.m. on Wednesday, everybody will be light freezing rain and light sleet and then snow picking up in our northern counties. As we go to the noon hour on Wednesday, we get into a little bit of a lull. It's going to be very light freezing drizzle, very light sleet, and very light snow. But look at our temps. We're into the 20s, so anything that falls will stick and cause the roads to become a little bit slippery. By Wednesday evening, here we go. Snow really picks up. This, especially along the I-44 corridor, will be very intense, heavy snow. 1 to 2 inches per hour is what is going to drop. Southern counties still seeing very intense sleet by Wednesday evening. Let's go to midnight, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Everybody moderate to heavy snow at times. Again, we're going to have accumulations of about 1 inch per hour. And then the heaviest will roll out by Thursday morning. And then we just kind of settle into light snow showers during the daytime hours on Thursday. All right, ice amounts, I think most of us 1/10, maybe upwards to 1/4 of an inch. So when I say ice, we're talking about freezing rain. Rain that falls, freezes on contact. Anything over 1/4 of an inch is going to cause some big time issues. But even these lighter amounts will cause some issues on the roadways. If we go over to sleet and snow, we're going to combine these two. I think most of us, southern counties, 5 to 8 inches of sleet and snow. Just because the sleet's going to hold down that mountain a bit. Most of us 5 to 10 inches of sleet and snow. Northern counties into central Missouri, 9 to 13 inches of snow, which is a pretty big storm system. So if we break it down, tomorrow's all rain. We go to ice, moderate ice tomorrow night, and then light by the time we head into Wednesday morning. And then late Wednesday, we go to moderate to heavy snow, and then back to light snow by the time we head into Thursday afternoon. Of course, we're going to have to fine-tune this forecast as we go into tomorrow, but this is a pretty good winter event. 57 tomorrow, 20s on Wednesday. Also bitterly cold, 21 for a high Thursday, 25 on Friday. So whatever falls, it's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah. So tomorrow is a big day of transition.
Yeah, I mean, we're still going to be fairly warm into the 50s, but then we drop.
It'll change. We'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much, Doug. Coming up, the Winter Olympics scheduled to begin this week.
Just days before the Winter Olympics begin, there's new concerns over whether the Games can be held safely. In London, I'm Alex Hogan with more on this story coming up.
Right here on Fox 14.
Recent reports and hotel industry leaders say 2022 is going to be a year of both increasing business and challenges. According to the American Hotel and Lodging Association, this year is projected to be a year of growth because of the expected demand in leisure or business and leisure trips. But because of the large losses throughout 2020 and 2021, the industry still faces a long road ahead for recovery, as the loss of room revenue and additional services those years was $111.8 billion combined. We're just days away from the start of the Beijing Olympics, but a spike in COVID cases renews concerns over whether the Games can even be held safely. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan explains.
The Winter Olympics kick off this week, but there are growing concerns over what's happening in China.
Water here, water here.
Thousands of athletes and personnel are arriving in Beijing as the city reports its highest number of COVID cases in 18 months. Upon arrival, Olympic travelers are greeted at the airport by workers in biohazard suits and tested for COVID. Then it's off to designated hotels that are barricaded to keep the public out. Athletes say it's a stark reminder of the threat looming over the Games.
You're like just so stressed about, making sure you're as safe as you can be, yet at the same time, there's no way to be 100% safe.
Chinese health officials have locked down some local areas in Beijing to test residents. More than 30 new infections have occurred within the Olympics closed-loop bubble, but the International Olympic Committee insists that the Games will be safe.
Olympic Winter Games Beijing will open a new era for global winter sports. That in order to be successful, we need to work together. We need to share responsibilities.
Meanwhile, activists are calling on Olympic participants to speak out against human rights abuses while in China. But Beijing authorities are tightening their grip, warning that such conduct could face consequences.
It's just amazing that China is able to get away with all this in the modern day and age where we have the internet.
The opening ceremony for the Winter Olympics will be held on Friday. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Still ahead, digging out from a lot of winter powder.
The cleanup continues in the Northeast after a major winter storm. I'm Molly Line in Stoughton, Massachusetts, and I'll have those details coming up.
The Northeast is cleaning up after the weekend's major winter storm, but cold temperatures could impact those efforts. Fox News correspondent Molly Line has more.
The weekend's nor'easter is gone, but parts of the East Coast are still digging out from record amounts of precipitation.
We got 16 inches here, give or take a couple inches.
Bitter cold temperatures are not making things any easier on cleanup efforts. Today, highs across the New England area are expected to stay below freezing. Here in Massachusetts, regional shelters and warming centers have been set up for those wanting to escape the harsh conditions.
We're New Englanders. This is what we live for. We are perfectly happy being snowed in, and we are perfectly capable of getting ourselves out.
Forecasters say the storm's dry snow was less capable of downing trees and power lines. Still, more than 100,000 customers lost power at the height of the storm. Utility crews have been working around the clock to get much of the electricity restored.
Enduring 10 hours of blizzard conditions has put a strain on our emergency responders and on our public works crews, obviously. The public works crews work straight through.
Meanwhile, airlines are hoping to get back in the air after a weekend of cancellations.
The flight was canceled because the plane coming in from the East Coast to Milwaukee never made it there.
On Sunday, more than 1,500 flights were canceled and thousands more delayed. Delta, American Airlines, and Southwest were among those most affected. Forecasters say another storm will bring precipitation from Texas to the Great Lakes later on this week. In Stoughton, Massachusetts, Molly Line, Fox News.
All right, so the Chiefs season is done, but there is some good news for the upcoming Super Bowl. Going to hear about this year's Puppy Bowl.
Vehicle prices are
still catching your breath from NFL playoffs? Take a sports pause and enjoy playful pause for a purpose. Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl is going to be back for an 18th edition right before Super Bowl Sunday's game. More than 100 adoptable puppies from 67 shelters in 33 states are going to compete for your heartstrings and have a friendly playoff game to raise adoption awareness between Team Rough or Team Fluff. And they're going to get some canine spirit from rappers Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart as hosts. That duo just makes me laugh. Once again, the Puppy Bowl airs on Animal Planet at 2 p.m. February 13th. Is that 2 p.m. Eastern? I'm assuming 2 p.m. Eastern, so 1 p.m. Central. Speaking of the Super Bowl, Domino's looking for ways to beat their worker shortage. The company announcing they will pay customers $3 to not get their pie delivered. That's right, starting today and running through May 22nd. Customers are going to be tipped, so to speak, $3 if they order online and choose the carry-out option and pick up their own pizza. This coming ahead of the Super Bowl, which is one of the busiest days for pizza sales across the country. So, what you got to do, pick up your own pie and then watch the Puppy Bowl. That looks good. All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way. Some students in Iola, Kansas, incentivizing a blood drive, throwing in the chance to get Super Bowl tickets. Plus, new data showing Americans' views on the pandemic, if it's ever going to end, and the science behind the virus.
Nominate your .org.
The Chiefs aren't going to the Super Bowl, but students at Allen Community College in Iola have a chance to go to that big game. School's Student Senate today hosted its annual Red Cross Blood Drive. Those who donated were entered in a chance to win a trip to the Super Bowl in Los Angeles on February 13th.
They did not. I actually don't watch football, so I don't know anything about the Super Bowl. I just know the Chiefs ain't going, so.
And so with the blood drive and the shortage, I wanted to make sure that we communicate that more. And so we're able to get more people to come here, which is what happened because we filled up all of our spots.
Jalen, You don't watch football? What's the matter with you? I'm teasing. Super Bowl tickets are provided courtesy of the Red Cross. Officials with the Joplin School District announced plans to begin work on a new 5-year strategic plan for the district. The company Opinion Research Specialists out of Springfield is collecting input from the community about what they'd like to see. That input comes in the form of interviews with students, graduates, teachers, and parents, as well as collecting comments from people through an online program.
The thing that is really on everybody's mind right now is kind of that mental health component that has been impacted by COVID. That means, the stress that we've all been under the last few years is showing up in various forms. And I think there is really an acute awareness that that's something that needs to be taken in consideration.
Officials say the final draft of the strategic plan is going to be presented to the school board in April or May. Crowder College kicking off the new semester with a game night. Rough Rider Esports and Crowder College Project Now hosted the Press Start game night. Featured pizza, drinks, and popular games too.
It's really nice to see students that haven't been able to find their niche find a home in our program, and it's been great to see them succeed and have people they can go to when they're having problems, and have someone like me that they can go to when they don't understand, like, oh, I need a transcript, or I'm trying to transfer, or I'm having trouble in this class.
The event was also a chance for students to get information about the esports team and scholarship opportunities. Joplin Area Beekeepers Association today taught some beginner beekeepers the basics of the trade. The group hosted a class to help beginners learn things like the ins and outs of a hive, the real job of the queen, and proper clothing, tools for beekeeping. Organizers say it's a great chance to learn about the excitement of getting to know bees.
I think just having the opportunity to work outside. So for my husband and I, this is a job that we get to do together. We get the opportunity to be outdoors, to really feel a connection with nature, and to really better understand the insects that we're working with. And it's just really, it's a lot of fun.
Beekeepers Association is hosting these classes every Monday through the month of February at the Joplin Greenhouse and Garden Center. Drug makers raising prices, an average of 6.6% at the beginning of this year. After double-digit increases several years ago, many companies pledged moderate price increases as Congress explores measures to curb high costs. This price hike on drugs nearly matching the 7% overall consumer inflation rate here in the U.S. Numbers and statistics are critical when it comes to measuring the effects of the pandemic, but now new data is offering a glimpse at if the nation believes the pandemic is ever going to end, and if people are trusting the science behind the virus. Fox News' Paul Stephen reports.
New data from the National Opinion Research Center finds most Americans believe COVID-19 will never be fully wiped out, with only 15% saying it will be eradicated. Instead, 83% say COVID-19 is here to stay, but will consider the pandemic over if the coronavirus becomes mild like the flu.
We're just going to eventually have to say, well, this is it's the flu and the COVID season instead of just the flu season.
The study also found the Omicron variant is causing more people to revert back to intensive safety precautions, with 64% reporting they're back to avoiding large groups, up by 7% from December.
I'm not even that confident that the virus is going to become milder in the end. I mean, that's the next great hope, but it's still a giant threat 2 years running.
Meanwhile, the National Opinion Research Center is also revealing the results of its latest general social survey, where analysts found Americans' trust in science could be impacted by their political ideology, with 64% of Democrats having a great deal of confidence in the scientific community compared to 34% of Republicans. Experts say trusting or not trusting scientific health data can impact someone's decision to get a vaccine or booster shot.
The reception has been very tepid to getting boosted. But again, like all of COVID, science changes rapidly.
The CDC saying at least 40% of fully vaccinated people have received a booster shot. Paul Stevens, Fox News.
And a bit later, big money for an out-of-this-world diamond.
A massive and very rare diamond is up for auction. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer with a look at this dazzling gemstone and what secrets it could unlock about our own planet and beyond, coming up.
With 4 strips of
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. Temperature is fantastic as we went all the way up into the upper 60s to near 70 degrees, which is pretty good, but a pretty big switch heading in our direction over the next couple of days. Already we have a winter storm watch, which is in effect starting tomorrow night and then lasting into Thursday morning. This includes everybody across the entire 4-state area. All right, look at our temps. Today we went upper 60s, 4 highs. Great day. Nice warm day. Kind of makes you want spring to get here a little bit closer or a little bit sooner, but we're going to go right back to winter. Temperatures sitting into the mid 50s. We'll only drop back near 50 as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Currently outside sitting at 56. Southerly winds are light. Humidity is at 47%, and we do have some clouds which are starting to increase, and this is going to be the case as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Clouds just slowly thicken all night long as our next storm system is brewing. We have a weak little wave passing to our south, and then here's the beginnings of our next storm system, which will start to affect us as we go through the daytime hours for us tomorrow. Tonight, just clouds increasing. We hang out near 50 for an overnight low. As we go into the daytime hours tomorrow, we'll start to get some showers developing, especially along and north of Interstate 44. So here's the noon hour. Let's go through the afternoon. Here comes that Arctic front sliding in. So we'll drop into the 40s during the evening hours. We're going to have these on and off showers throughout the day. No ice, no snow tomorrow. Temperatures near 50 in the morning, 55 by noon. A high right around 57. I think after 3 o'clock, we'll start to drop into the 40s. We'll drop through the 40s into the 30s as we go through the overnight hours tomorrow night. So here's midnight. This is all freezing rain and sleet. This is still rain through the metro, but after midnight, we go to freezing rain and then eventually sleet by morning. We're not going to get a prolonged period of freezing rain, but enough that it could cause some issues on the roadways. So here's Wednesday morning, snow northern counties, light sleet across most of the metro. And then we get a little bit of a break as we go through the morning hours, just light snow showers and a little bit of light sleet, and that's really about it. The main system comes in late Wednesday. So as we go into Wednesday afternoon and evening, here it comes. All snow this time. Look at the temps. We're well into the 20s, so anything that drops will definitely stick to the ground. Southern counties, very heavy sleet, and then moderate to heavy snow. Wednesday night, so this is midnight, moderate to heavy snow all the way into Thursday morning. Then after about 9 a.m., most of the accumulating snow is out of here, and then we just kind of go to light snow showers throughout the daytime hours on Thursday. All right, freezing rain. This is mainly tomorrow night. Not a lot, but enough to cause some issues. 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch. Heaviest will be in our southern counties. You really don't want more than 1/4 of an inch on trees and power lines, but I don't think we're going to exceed that 1/4 of an inch mark. Sleet and snow, I've adjusted this just a little bit. Southern counties, 5 to 8 inches of sleet and snow. They're going to get more sleet than they will snow. Most of us 5 to 10 inches, and then a swath from Fort Scott, Nevada through central Missouri of 9 to 13 inches of snow. So a pretty big event. Again, if we break this down, all of tomorrow is rain. Tomorrow night we go to ice, moderate freezing rain, and then it goes light Wednesday morning, and then late Wednesday we go to moderate to heavy snow into Thursday morning, and then just kind of light snow showers stick around as we head through the daytime hours on Thursday. All right, 57 tomorrow. We drop into the 20s on Wednesday. It's going to be cold. 14 Wednesday night, only 21 on Thursday, down to 7, down to 3 Saturday morning. So once this gets on the ground, it's not going anywhere for several days.
You had a lot to break down.
Yeah, that'll be the same thing tomorrow.
You did a good job. Yeah. Doug Heddy, thank you. All right, coming up in sports, Pittsburgh High School is going to have a new head football coach this fall, plus Player of the Week honors for Missouri Southern freshman Lacey Stokes. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Hashtag time.
Pittsburgh High School will have a new head football coach when next season rolls around this fall. Tom Nicholson announced his resignation today as the leader of the Purple Dragons football program. And Nicholson spent 21 years at Pittsburgh High School, including the last 11 as head coach. In those 11 years, they led the Purple Dragons to a 71-36 overall record. They were 6-4 last fall and won a playoff game for the 4th time in 5 years. And Nicholson says it was just time for a change, but still not an easy decision and not an easy thing to tell the guys this morning.
We had a meeting this morning, very brief. Just I didn't want them to hear it from anybody else. We kept this very hush-hush, and it was hard. It was hard. You spend a lot of time with those boys. Tough to tell them, but appreciate the way they handled it. But great group of young men. I know I've got 4 kids and a wife that will have a father at home, probably more now than they even want me to be. But I need to be a better dad. I need to be a better husband. I need to be there for them as much as possible. And it was just time for me to recheck some priorities and kind of refocus where my time and energy should be.
The Kansas City Chiefs fell short of their 3rd straight Super Bowl appearance on Sunday. The Chiefs fell to the Cincinnati Bengals 27-24 in overtime last night in the AFC Championship game. Now, Kansas City dominated the first half, but the second half was kind of a different story. The Chiefs were up 21-3 at one point and 21-10 at halftime. But the Bengals outscored them 17-3 in the second half in overtime to knock Kansas City out. Now, it's hard to point at just one play that changed the game, but no doubt, big turning point for Cincinnati came right before halftime when they stopped Kansas City inside the 5-yard line as time expired. Kansas City could have taken a short field goal or at least put the ball in the end zone on the final play, but instead they came up with nothing after a 7-play, 80-yard drive.
We called a play that we were trying to get someone over the middle quick. And then I was supposed to throw the ball away. I got a little greedy there and try to give to Tyreek and get a touchdown. They had 2 people out there. Definitely, I mean, in the long run of things, it looks bad, but if we had another chance, I would have went for another play again.
I was hoping we could get the ball in the end zone. I probably gave him the wrong play, first of all. So to start with, I could have given him something better than that, where the play was open in the end zone, and then we wouldn't have to go through that. But it's I'll take responsibility for that one.
Missouri Southern freshman Lacey Stokes has been named the MIAA Women's Basketball Player of the Week. Stokes helped the Lions go 2-0 last week, posting 16.5 points, 8.5 assists, and 5 rebounds per game against Rogers State and Northeastern State. The Mount Vernon product leads the league in assists and steals. It's the 2nd time this season that she's earned the weekly honor. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news right after this.
We're here to...
Citrus farmers battling a years-long fruit plague are trying to make new orange varieties to sustain business. Citrus greening happens to citrus like oranges from the insects causing the plant disease. So citrus farmers are hoping to create new varieties of oranges to sustain business and provide for America's juice and orange needs. New hybrid developments are showing promise, we're being told, for a natural resistance to greening. Some awaiting USDA approval for production. A USDA forecast, by the way, says Florida's output of oranges could be the smallest in 75 years. A rare diamond, roughly the size of a softball, could be yours. For the right price of course, not for free. Fox News correspondent Ashley Strohmeyer has more on the dazzling gemstone up for auction and why experts say it could have come from outer space.
Weighing in at more than 555 carats, this rare black diamond called a carbonado is garnering a lot of attention.
Most carbonados are about 2.6 to 3.2 billion years old.
Because there's so few of them found, it's hard to know exactly where they come from. Some geologists say carbonados are formed deep below the surface of the earth, far past the scope humans are able to drill, while others say these diamonds have close ties to the cosmos.
There's hypotheses that suggest that they formed at impact sites when a large asteroid hit Earth, causing carbon on the surface of the Earth to grow into these carbonados.
But no matter their origin, diamonds like this can hold unparalleled information about the composition of our planet and quite possibly our universe.
If they formed in the Earth, that tells us a lot about what deep Earth interior mineralogy is like. If it did come from space, What it would tell us is the evolution of our solar system.
The diamond is currently up for auction at Sotheby's, where officials say its fate is up to the buyer.
This is the type of piece that I think we could see potentially being in a museum. It could be with a private collector, whether it is used, meaning worn or adorned, perhaps unlikely.
The auction remains open until February 9th. The Carbonado diamond is expected to fetch anywhere between $4 to $7 million. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Told you it wasn't free, but you already knew that. A look at the entertainment coming up this week right here on Fox 14 when we come back. A big Fox drama returns and a new competition show premieres this week. Here's a look at what's coming up with Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
It's the return of The Resident. Here's what's hot on Fox.
We've radioed every hospital within 20 miles and no one's got her.
Yeah, which means that she's stuck out there in this.
First Monday on 911 Lone Star, Grace is in labor and caught in the ice storm as Owen and Tommy race to find her.
You ever think about going back to Temple?
While TK remains in the hospital with dreams of his mom's advice.
I hate to disappoint.
That's followed by The Cleaning Lady with guest star Lou Diamond Phillips as Tony gets help from Armand trying to get a donor for her son.
Inside this woman who walked into our ER is a part of someone we both loved.
Tuesday, The Resident is back with season 5 and personal cases in the ER, including Conrad finding out Nick's heart donor recipient was admitted, Raptor asking Devin for help with his mom, and Dr. Bell facing his own diagnosis.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Then it's the premiere of The Real Dirty Dancing, with celebrities recreating movie moves in the hopes of becoming the next Baby and Johnny.
She's a bad singer.
Wednesday, celebrities guess their best on I Can See Your Voice. Then teams on Next Level Chef take on a seafood challenge.
I'm still very much so open to like both guys.
Thursday, it's a pool party on Joe Millionaire for Richer or Poorer. Call Me Cat comedy includes Max entering a jingle contest. And the pivoting friends bond over keeping the tradition of a made-up annual holiday. Friday is WWE Friday Night Smackdown. And in big announcements, this spring brings The Masked Singer Season 7 and the new show Domino Masters. Both premiere March 9th right here on Fox. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of some koalas, because we all need koalas, right? Look at those koalas. Be safe, do this all again tomorrow. See you then.